welcome back to my channel. As you can tell by that title, I'm going to be ranking every single BMT job from best to worst. Pretty much every single morning and every single evening before you go to bed, the entire flight will have these things called details to do. Details are basically a process that the entire flight will go through to clean the entire dorm, make it look spotless, dust, mop, all of that kind of stuff to make sure that the dorm that you're staying in looks and smells good. I personally was in the Disneyland dorms when I went through BMT, but I heard something about Alcatraz dorms that apparently they do participate in details also, but they refer to it as phasing. I'm not too sure if that's still a thing, but aside from details and phasing that requires the entire flight, your MTI within the first maybe couple days of BMT, or maybe if not the first week, will assign everyone a separate detail that will need to be taken care of after the entire flight detail is done. Therefore, I am here today to break down what those details will be and maybe to give you a little insight and a little heads up on jobs you might want to look out for, or possibly jobs you might want to avoid. But before I start, if I happen to forget anything or like skip over something or not mention something, please forgive me. I have been out of BMT for almost 3 years now, so they could have updated plenty of things since I've gone through, but definitely don't be afraid to let me know in the comments if I did skip anything or forget something. I want to mention that all of these rankings are in my personal opinion. I do want to mention the first couple jobs that I'm going to name are all the jobs that I wouldn't have minded having aside from my detail. Like if I didn't get the detail that I was assigned, I wouldn't have minded having the ones I am about to name. Some people may agree with me, some people may not. This is all my opinion. But without further ado, let's get started. Coming in at number 1, bed aligners. This is probably the easiest job that you will have in BMT. Literally, your only requirement, your only duty is to make sure all of the beds are in a line, and then making sure that you fix everyone's laundry bags that hang at the end of each bed, making sure those are all to the same side and all like facing the same way on everyone's bed. And then once you're done, because that'll probably take you all of what, like 5 minutes, you can help whatever other details there are. Up next with a close second, shoe aligners. Similar to the bed aligners, your only job is to make sure that everybody's shoes and boots and shower flip-flops are nice and neat under their bed. Coming in at number 3, office crew. I originally thought that office crew and day room crew were the same detail until I Googled it, because I really didn't remember anybody getting assigned office crew when I was in BMT. The reason why office crew is so high up on this list is because you're basically responsible for cleaning the MTI office. Now, if you've watched some of my older BMT story times, you know that I did not know what my job was until the 8th week of BMT. And don't tell anyone I told you this, but the only reason I found out was because someone in the office crew ended up taking a little peek on the MTI's desk, and it had everybody's MOS and what base they were going to for their tech school. And that was the only reason I knew where I was going to tech school and what my job was. So I'm just saying, being, you know, office crew, you could get a little info that could be useful. Coming in at number 4 is the day room crew, which is pretty self-explanatory. All you guys have to do is tidy up the day room. Coming in at number 5 is the hallway crew. I'm not too familiar with this job just because I guess it was a pretty easy job because the girls that had the hallway crew job really didn't like complain too much. All you're really responsible for is like sweeping the hallways and the staircase. I think they're responsible for like polishing the handrails or something like that. I don't know. And also, I'm not telling you to do this. However, if you happen to have a brother flight, or if you're a male watching this and your flight happens to have a sister flight across the hall or whatever, as mine did, again, I'm not telling you to do this, but but being hallway crew, we pretty much, you know, us and our brother flights did our details at the same time. I don't know how they got away with this, but if you are part of hallway crew, you may have a couple opportunities to become a little chatty with your brother flights. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying there were some people who got away with it. I don't know if they may have installed cameras in the staircase now. I don't know. But all I'm saying is there were a couple girls from my flight who ended up marrying some guys from our brother flight because they got to talk to them. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that being hallway crew makes it possible. Coming in at number 6 was my personal detail, and that is utility crew. I loved being a part of utility crew. Utility crew works really closely with laundry crew, but we'll get there in a second. But utility crew is basically responsible for restocking all of the toiletries and anything that the dorm might be out of, as far as like laundry, Tide Pods, and I think dryer sheets and things like that. Even though it was a lot of work and everything had to be very organized and nice and neat, it was so rewarding at the same time. At least for us in the Disneyland dorms, none of the supplies were kept in the same building. So you kind of had an excuse to walk outside to get out of the dorm for a little bit. You had to walk to like a separate pavilion that was open with like all the utility and toiletries that you might need. So some of my favorite like feel-good moments from BMT happened on those walks to the utility closet, and you know, in the evenings when the sun was setting and it was like a lot cooler, because I went in the dead middle of summer. It would always be me and my girl Right. Shout out to you if you were watching this. I don't know, it was just an excuse to like talk, kind of. I mean, even though you were not supposed to talk on those little journeys. As long as you're marching or anything like that, like you really weren't supposed to be talking, but like doing that. And then you were also made responsible to sanitize everyone's water bottles. So once we would get all of the utilities together, we would then collect everyone's water bottle, and it was another excuse to go down right in front of the snack machines. Not that you could buy anything, but it was kind of like in this little corner to where like you really couldn't be seen. And again, like me and Trainee Wright would literally just be having full-on conversations, and like, I don't know, it was just really nice. Like it was a nice break from like all the chaos going on. The only thing that sucks though, the main thing that sucks, is that if you guys have a good streak going of like passes, because all of your details will get inspected. If you keep getting passes and utility crew keeps like knocking them out, passing them every single time, the MTIs will look for things to be wrong. They will look for things to give you demerits for. And I will never forget, there was one time where we were on a consistent streak of like passes. Utility crew was just like bomb. Like we just had a good system going. I remember our streak was like broken because everything was literally perfect. Like we were getting 0 demerits. It was perfect. Until one day, I remember we ended up getting, I think, 1 demerit. And we lost our streak because somebody left a green sock. Somebody left a green sock, like a uniform sock, in their white laundry bag, in their laundry mesh bag. And I remember we always kept like all the colors and the whites and uniforms, all of that stuff was separate. You were supposed to separate your laundry, whites with whites, PT gear with PT gear, you know, Santees with Santees. There was one laundry bag of white laundry with a green uniform sock in it. Our MTI just went off on like everyone. He was asking whose watermark it was. He looked to see whose laundry bag it came out of. So he was like, whose laundry mark is this? And this was the reason we didn't get a, you know, perfect score. This is why we got a demerit. It was only 1 demerit. Like he was going off. But yeah, utility crew, 10 out of 10 experience. Highly recommend, especially if you are really organized and like OCD. I would volunteer for that one. At number 7 is laundry crew. Again, they work closely with utility crew, only laundry is solely responsible for doing everyone's laundry. Personally, I feel like this is a part of the video and the part of the ranking list where the jobs start to decline for me. Everything named after utility crew are all the jobs I would not ask for or volunteer for or anything like that. I don't even want to be a part of it. The laundry is responsible for doing everyone's laundry. All I'm gonna say is that there were times where utility crew would help, and some of those smells from the laundry bags, I will never forget. I want to say laundry is probably one of the more tedious and more, what's the word? Like, I don't want to say difficult. I guess one of the more difficult jobs to have, because there's so many things that you have to take into account, like cleaning out the lint tray and like getting in there. Like, I'm not going to go into like each job specifically, but like you will see when you get there. I would not recommend laundry to anyone personally. And just think that's like not even the worst job on this list. Ranking at number 8 are element leaders. I would not want to be an element leader for anything. That's just my personal opinion, just because I know how I am. I feel like good leaders a lot of the time are type A. I am not a type A type person. Not saying that all good leaders are type A, but like, I know, personally, I don't like to lead people and be in charge of people if I don't know exactly what I'm doing or exactly what I'm talking about. Also, the fact that if your MTI just feels like you're lacking or you are not being a good leader or you're having issues with too many people, then you can easily be replaced. Coming in at number 9 is an EC monitor. Being an EC monitor is not a hard job. You will be in charge of making the schedule for EC duty and putting people in different times of when they need to work EC duty. It's not a hard job at all. It's just that everyone will probably hate you at some point. Personally, I think our EC monitors did a really good job at making our schedules. Your flight, EC monitors may not be as generous. There were a lot of girls that would complain when they got certain shifts, and they would get frustrated with our EC monitors and they would throw a little fit, a little tantrum, but at the end of the day, they get over it. Just know you kind of gotta have like some thick skin and not really, I don't want to say not care what people say or what people think, but kind of be able to like, you can't be a people pleaser and be an EC monitor. I'll say that. First of all, I want to apologize for the change in lighting. The sun is setting, so I'm going to try to hurry this up. But coming in at number 10 is dorm chief. I did not want to be dorm chief. If you watch my video of top 5 fears of BMT, you already know how I feel about that and how I felt about it back then. Like I said about being an element leader, I would not want to lead an entire flight to victory. I don't care. I know. I also want to mention with the element leaders and from being dorm chief though, you can put that down on your EPR as, you know, a bullet. It does look really good, but I'll take that L. I would not recommend it. Especially like our dorm chief, like all the stuff that she had to put up with, and like, I don't know. I mean, kudos, you know, she stayed dorm chief the whole time, but just dealing with all the negativity and the stress, and you as dorm chief always have to be in tip-top, you know, shape and have all your stuff squared away. Listen, couldn't be me. At number 11, Chow Runner. For those who have watched all my BMT story times, you already know. You already know what I'm gonna say about this one. No, 0 out of 10. Would not recommend. 0 stars. I had to fill in as Chow Runner a couple times. Those were the worst days of my life. Worst moments of BMT, hands down. I mean, it is pretty, nope, it's not. I mean, honestly, from people that I've heard that were Chow Runner, they either love it or hate it. And I feel like the only reason it's not at the bottom of this list is because once you get past like the first couple times and like the nervousness of it, and like you start being confident and comfortable, like our Chow Runner, oh my god, kudos to you, girl. If you are watching this, I don't know, she loved it. She loved doing it. I hated it. I know a lot of people hate it and don't want that job, but like, all I'm gonna say is if you do get this as your job / detail, once you get past like the first couple times of maybe getting yelled at and blown up and like maybe messing up or something, it's smooth sailing from there. It's all good. You have nothing to worry about. But if you can just get through those first couple times, you're good. Now, before I go into the worst job to have, in my opinion, in BMT, I want to go ahead and list some honorable mentions. So these honorable mentions are pretty much just extra duty type things that aren't necessarily a detail, but they kind of are. They're just not one of the main everyday jobs that you'll have to partake in, if that makes sense. Row guards, do not volunteer for that. I promise you, you will hate life. Unless you enjoy running, don't volunteer for that. I didn't, but I saw what they had to do and I was like, kudos to them. You know, more power to them. Pretty much the duty of a road guard is every time you guys march anywhere, if there is a crosswalk or like an intersection or something, I believe there's always two. There's one at the very back of the line and there's one in like, I think the middle or the front. I don't remember, but every time there's like an intersection or a crosswalk or something, they have to sprint to the front of the flight and like hold out their hands to make sure that traffic stops or whatever. I don't know, there's just a lot of running and like sprinting going on. And on them hot days, especially if you go during the summer, I would not recommend being a freaking road guard. PT monitor. If we had a PT monitor, I don't remember who it was because again, this wasn't like an everyday thing. PT monitor is just making sure that you guys are doing your 1x3s and helping anyone who might need, you know, extra assistance if there's any downtime. 1x3s are pretty much just like an organized push-ups and sit-ups. Basically everything you're gonna have to do on your PT test. You'll figure out what that is once you get there. Pretty much the PT monitor is just to make sure that everyone's, you know, having good form and helping anyone who is wanting to do their 1x3s. KP duty. I'm not sure what KP duty is because I never volunteered for that. I'm pretty sure it stands for kitchen patrol, I wanna say. But all I know is that everybody who ended up volunteering to do it, volunteered to do it every single weekend. KP duty was only a weekend thing and it was typically, I believe, on Sundays. So while everyone was at church or having downtime on their Sunday, you would leave before the entire flight got up for breakfast and you would go to either Alcatraz or the Disneyland dorms and basically work the kitchen duties. You would either refill waters, I think they did dishes, but they said at the end of it, once you were done, you got like free dessert and you didn't have to, you know, walk in front of the entire MTI snake pit to get it. They just could walk up there and get it. As long as you were at KP duty, you got like free dessert with no MTI stress. Oh my God, it gets dark so fast in Alaska. I hope that light is better. I'm trying to hurry this up, oh my God. Academic monitor? I didn't know about this, or at least maybe I forgot, but I didn't realize that this was an actual job until I Googled some of the jobs to make sure that I wasn't forgetting anything. And it listed academic monitor. If we had an academic monitor, I don't remember having one and I don't remember who it was. But pretty much they're just in charge of making sure that people are studying for their EOC. That happens at the end of BMT. And these are all jobs, these are all like extra jobs. Like you won't just be able to do that and then nothing else. You'll have this job on top of like your other details that I already mentioned before. Guidon bearer. So the guidon bearer is the person at the front of the flight that holds the flag. That is your duty. Shout out to trainee Lynch because she was the best guidon bearer. I don't care about our brother flight, our cousin's flight. Like she got some strong arms. She always looked good when we were marching. Like I watched the videos back of like that my family took when we were like all marching out for our graduation and stuff. The best guidon bearer I've ever seen. Sometimes they will assign an alternate guidon bearer just in case like the main one is like sick or has an appointment or something. But for the most part, like our guidon bearer was guidon bearer for like the entire time. Water monitor. Some of these I was like, I don't remember these jobs being given out and I don't remember who obtained these jobs, but all they're responsible for is making sure that people drink water. This will typically, I remember this was actually a thing at Beast for sure, to make sure that your flight was drinking their water and marking their tally marks for how many canteens they finished. But outside of Beast, I don't remember there being a water monitor like ever. EC duty. Now, this is not, oof. Anyway, so EC duty is not to be confused with the EC monitor. Everybody in the flight will have to work an EC shift at some point, which, like I said, will be assigned by the EC monitors. EC just stands for entry control, so that's exactly what you're gonna be doing. So you and a wingman are going to be pretty much guarding the door. Each shift lasts 2 hours, so whoever's on that shift will work for 2 hours, then they'll go wake up the next 2 people that are on shift, they'll work for 2 hours, and so on. I am telling you right now, the worst shift to have and what you should avoid if you can at all costs is the 2 to 4 shift. Because think about it, you're going to sleep and you have to wake up at 2 a.m. I think we went to bed at like 9. 9 p.m. every night. So you sleep for 5 hours, then you have to get up, work your 2-hour shift till 4, and you only have an hour to go back to sleep. And don't think you're gonna cheat and like just like try to get ready in the bathroom sooner, because you can't. You're not allowed to, and plus everyone in your flight will hate you because you'll be waking them up. Just the process from having to get what you need out of your locker, and the fact that you can literally hear everything going on in the bathroom, especially if it's like nighttime and everyone's sleeping and you're the only person up. Every flush of the toilet, every sink that's on, every time you move your little lock, you unlock your locker. Listen, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, and you won't go back to sleep for that hour, because then it's just gonna make you mad and you'll just be up. It's honestly the worst. Chaplain guide. They wake up before the flight and they're responsible for marching all of the baby flights to and from the chapel that they want to go to. Because your MTIs aren't there on Sundays and they can't show you where the chapel is, that is pretty much the purpose of the chapel guides. I think I read somewhere that they are able to help the chaplain also with whatever duties he might have. I don't really know. Now back to the original ranking system. Thank you to all those honorable mentions. The worst job to have in BMT, in my opinion, would be latrine crew. Shout out to my flight's latrine queen, Ledesma. I don't know what she was doing in there, but she ran a tight ship, because that latrine was always looking spotless. It was amazing. It was immaculate. I think I would rather be Chow Runner than to be latrine crew. Never mind. No, I wouldn't. No, okay, maybe I would, just because, like I said, with Chow Runner, you can like, once you get over the nervousness and like all that stuff, like it's pretty easy and it gets better. With latrine crew, you realize you have to scrub toilets and floors and sinks and pull long, stringy clumps of soapy hair and pubes out of the drain every day. Wiping soap scum off the walls and off the floors. Toothpaste in the sink, cleaning down the mirrors that people, you know, have spit on, or like water has splashed on, little water droplets. You have to do that twice a day, every day. Just for the grossness alone is why I've ranked this the worst job in BMT. But hey, you might get blessed with a fire latrine queen like we did, or a latrine king who run a tight ship as well. And then maybe you can even earn the title of latrine queen or king. But that is it for this video. If I'm forgetting anything, any little detail, or if you have any comments that you want to add from people who have been through BMT, if you have anything you want to add, go ahead and put them down in the comment section below. Or let me know what your detail was in BMT. I'm curious to know. If you have any questions or any requests of videos that you want me to post, definitely let me know. Either DM me on Instagram, you can add me on Snapchat, comment down below. I really enjoyed making this video and reminiscing on BMT days. I always love to reminisce about BMT all the time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to keep up with videos like this, and I will see you in the next one.